Good evening. My name is Lynn Nolan. I'm serving as the current president of Illinois Ultimate. We are your state-based organization, um, and our work is to coordinate ultimate play, grow the sport, facilitate discussions, have conversations, make plans for kids and adults and families to participate in the great sport of ultimate. So tonight we're going to talk about our return to play plan for youth. Um, so we'll get started. There's a lot that goes into this, and the metrics and stuff are changing. So our purpose is to help you understand where we're getting information, what the parameters for the Illinois Department of Health, the IHSA, the USAU return to play plans are, and how those might affect us. We also want to recognize that by county, by area of the state, by school district, um, there are different constraints on schools and programs. And so this could be a year where not everyone who has played in the past can participate due to those restrictions, but we want to give schools the opportunity to opt in, programs the opportunity to do something. So our mantra is, what can we do? And so we're going to try and show you a little bit of that today. We also need you to understand that whatever we do, COVID protocols for play will be in effect. So, in order to ensure our programming, we need to make sure that we are following those protocols. So, you as a coach, as a parent, as a community organizer, need to be partnering with us on this. And most of all, the thing that's encouraged us to continue to move forward and work towards our return to play plan is that we recognize that SEL components of play, engagement, practice, community building, competitive play can really positively impact players. And we want to create opportunities for that. You may have gotten an Illinois Coaches Google group email today. I encourage you to say yes and be a part of that conversation. We don't want to overwhelm people, but we need to have a way that we can get input from coaches more quickly. This is not a one person show. This is not just a board of directors of 6 people show or 8 people show. This is our organization. So we need your help. Our outcome today, we hope to really look at the spring and what we kind of have planned, and then figure out if that's where we want to go, at least give some direction for a steering committee to make the final decision. And I also would encourage us during this time when we are not running around like crazy people coaching, that we consider what equity, diversity, and inclusivity elements that we could reflect on regarding our programs. Does the competition of your team reflect the composition of your community? What barriers to play exist for BIPOC individuals and economically disadvantaged kids? And what are we thoughtfully doing for them? So when it comes into return to play, there are some different places that we get information. So the next couple slides are a little bit of information overload, but we want you to have a big picture of what influences who's making the decisions. So the first is the Illinois Department of Health, and they are watching COVID trends. So if you click on this link, it'll show you a map. And the map, you can click on each county, and the county will tell you what the trend is. All right. So in our area, you can kind of click on your school, county to see what that trend is. The IHSA then takes that information and translate it into what does that mean in terms of opening the doors to play. We are aligning ourselves with the idea of what the IHSA is doing because we hope to see ourselves as an IHSA sport in the future. So you'll see some references to what the IHSA is doing in this presentation. The good news is that they are starting trends. We're trending down, and so that opens doors for sports to be in action. And then as of last Wednesday, this was the latest update from the IHSA regarding high-risk sports. And I will speak to ultimate as a high-risk sport in a future slide. The other thing that has come out is this new National Federation of High School Revised Guidance on High School Sports, where the research is showing that you're not going to get COVID on the field. That really it's about the trends in your community as opposed to the interactions that happen on the fields. And in this particular paragraph, it talks about outdoor sports show lower rates of infection than indoor sports, and that non-contact sports have lower rates of infection than contact sports. And technically, we are a non-contact sport, which is one of the um, information points that we have brought to the attention of the IHSA and the Deputy Governor's Office recently. Additionally, on this slide is there are two links, and you have this in your slide deck for, oops, went back, for what are other state-based organizations or state governing organizations doing? What are they? And you will see across the country, we're all wrestling with what is the right time to come back? Can we phase in youth programming and then adult programming in the future? What are the barriers that and comfort levels for various organizations? So just letting you know that we're not in isolation in this, but that we're part of a larger community that is in communication about what we're doing and how we plan on doing that. USA Ultimate put out return to play guidelines. Um, this link will go to their guidelines. Those guidelines were published in June of 2020. So they are working on a revised version of this. So I'm not going to click on this link right now, but rather to tell you that preliminary discussions have been about whether players will be masked and that mask will be required for anyone who's on the sideline. There is an additional waiver as you renew your membership that is is directly related to COVID and needs to be signed by a parent or checked off by you as a coach for your own membership. In order to get insurance for any leagues or sanctioned events that we run, we have to adhere to our strictest state guidelines for safety. Also, I just included in here, like the IHSA, we do not have a state championship event tournament scheduled. So that means that all of our youth memberships can qualify for the $17 affiliate membership. And then coaching memberships, this is just something you can be working on now. There's a membership cost. You need to do your safe sport, check your waivers, and do the ethics training. And likewise, if we are coming back to play, that we need to make sure that we have our adults in line, including chaperones for your programs. So what do we think we're going to do? Went through and looked at what were teams or programs that were active last year, how are they clustered geographically, and then I created a map. So this map says, here we are. Here are the people who have played or are playing, and then they are clustered by conference or by geographic area. So the blue are what was the Upstate 8 and is now the Duquesne Conference. Yellow is the DuPage Valley Conference. Purple are our city of Chicago that usually play in Chisel or in Cujo. And then pink are south suburbs, some of whom have come to the far west Chisel. Some have gone to Cujo. Some have not participated until the state event. But I did do the 30-minute check, and these guys are about 30 minutes from each other. But also you'll see that here's a row of people that maybe could interact or do an overlap. And then here is another that maybe would work. The little green bulbs that are here are middle school programs that we know of, and the red are girls programs that we know of. The gray are schools that either we know have played ultimate or have ultimate intramurals, but have not played in any kind of leagues or tournament events. So this is kind of like the the working place for what spring conferences might look like. And then let's take a look at seasons and that kind of thing. All right, so the IHSA on their webpage not only has the Illinois Department of Health phases, they also have here's what it means to be in phase 4, tier 1, tier 2. And then it also has some of the mitigations and spectator limitations. So that's something that we would need to think about as we move forward. Would we have parents on the sidelines or not? Would our numbers of team size, would team size matter or change? Those are kind of questions that are coming up. The other thing they have is here are the sports seasons. And you'll see that they are looking at sports seasons that start either early April, 7 days of practices before a first contest. That's typically the week of April, maybe 19th, and then ending somewhere in May or June. So with that in mind, I put a draft of a timeline together. Oh, okay, hang on. And the bright green is what would have is an idea of a timeline for conference play. All right. And so the red is maybe an idea for girls play. Middle school is yet to be defined, but there's a starting point. The idea is that let's have a starting point for that conversation. And we'll get back to that in a second. All right. Just want to mention that we need to grow our girls. We need to come up with our middle school areas of play. And if you know of a school or a program near you that's not included on this page, let's get it together. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So on that timeline, I also had some other ideas. And this is a time where we can think out of the box. And partly is not, in the survey I sent out there was on urban disc golf or ultimate golf, which is really disc golf played with an ultimate disc. But the idea here is that some schools can't play ultimate, but some coaches might be able to say, we can't gather, we can't coach you, but here is a disc golf course that you can do in our neighborhood. And Andrew Allmeter created here's how you make a disc golf course. And here's what it looks like on Google Maps. Oops, except there, I can't tell. Andrew will let us have all access. So one idea was to have as a precursor to the ultimate season, maybe some disc golf competitions that are optional, that either teams could enter or individuals could enter. And they could be less structured in that, hey, here is a disc golf course, and you have between now and the end of May to verify or submit your how many strokes it took you to get through that course. So that again is another let's plan that, help us plan that kind of thing. The other thing that I wanted to share with you in this one stop depository for everything was USAU put out some new competition ideas, and this is where the skills challenge was, and also a little bit more on disc golf and some resources. They talked about a 4x4 teaser type thing. I think we're going to hear more about what 4x4 is in the near future, just letting you know it's there. And then in the fall, we did Illinois Ultimate did this conversation about engaging youth during COVID times. And I just put it in here because it is a resource for you to find what kind of skills can you do? What kind of drills can you do that help maintain uh, distance, protocols, etc.? All right. So again, trying to make this a one-stop shop for you and um, and move us forward. So I've dumped a lot of things that are like, hey, here's what we're looking at right in front of us. But I also want to do a shout out to the future in the sense of as summer comes, we expect to have the opportunity to do other events. Here are some things that maybe could happen, um, but we would need some help planning those, and we'd love to see those be in different places around the state or even around the suburbs and city. And then finally, this doesn't happen without help. Um, we are trying to get your feedback. We get that everybody's busy. We especially know that many of our high school coaches are also teachers and are juggling this hybrid or online remote environment. But it cannot be just one or two people trying to make all of this happen. Um, so we'd love to have you get involved with the steering committee. Um, the high school steering committee, there's a doodle poll here for when this group could meet to make some decisions. We would like to have a plan in place so that we can present it at the March 8th Illinois Ultimate Board meeting and move forward. If we're doing conference play and we need to secure Park District fields for people because they don't have fields on their home site, then we need to get on that so that we can do that. So please uh, contact us if you can help out. Also, we are in need of filling a couple positions. The state youth coordinator is needed. Rob Gross had that. You can see if you like organizing things, if you're an organized person, this might be a good place for you. The state outreach coordinator is currently me, but I'm not going to do this forever. So I would love to have somebody come on board and shadow me or work with me and maybe take that role in the future. Illinois Ultimate Board of Directors is a group of passionate, friendly, open people who want to do the best things for Illinois Ultimate at all levels. It's a daunting task right now because we are relatively new, but we're taking advantage of this COVID time to kind of get things in order for the future. And then I just thought at the end, if you really geek out on all of the links and sorting out where does this fit into the grand scheme of things, the bottom link is a link to the ADP development model for that all the Olympic sports and national governing bodies are kind of invested in. And it's kind of cool. So anyhow, there's a lot of information. I'm going to stop this part of the presentation. We can go back and look through slides at any time and have conversations about that. We'll just take a quick 1-minute break while I stop this.